and welcome back to J. Kerner for Astrology. For those of you who are returning viewers, thank you so much for subscribing. But did you know that 70% of you watching are unsubscribed? It costs you nothing to hit that subscribe button, so I ask you to please help us as we continue to inch along to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for joining me today. We'll be taking a close look at the astrological energies of the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, featuring an exact conjunction to Black Moon Lilith, aka the dark side of the moon, in Libra. We'll also be reviewing the astrological energies of the 2 weeks leading into this lunation. This Libra new moon solar eclipse exacts on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024 at 2:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please adjust the time for your location. It's exacting 10 degrees, 3 arc minutes, the constellation Libra. We will explore the archetypal energy patterns and themes for the Libra new moon solar eclipse, discuss its planetary ruler, Venus, debilitated or in exile in Scorpio. We'll unpack the significance of it happening on Wednesday, aka Mercury's day, while Mercury is Cazimi and the planetary ruler of Jupiter, while Jupiter's weakened in Gemini. And we'll explore the significance of the new moon's conjunction to the South Node, while it faces opposition to the North Node of Fate and Destiny, along with some additional aspects and patterns. For those of you who don't already know me, hi, I'm Jenny. I make astrology videos around the new and full moon. They are general predictive astrology videos. For a more personalized chart reading, check the description to find out how to get in touch with me about chart readings. I'm a Libra with a Libra stellium, a sunrise baby born while Venus, Mercury, and the Sun were all rising. These energies all converge on my ascendant. So I wear that energy on my sleeve and am perfectly positioned to explain Libra energy to the collective, as it's quite visible in my personality. I am hella Libra with a very strong Gemini moon, Aquarius North Node, and equally strong Leo and Capricorn stelliums. Stay tuned until the end, and be sure to not only subscribe, but also hit that like and notification bell so that you can be the first to find out what the cosmos has in store for you and the collective. The first 10 degrees of wherever you have the cardinal air sign Libra in your chart are highly active right now, and they are highlighting your own relationship modeling and relationship patterns, especially unhealthy, habitual, or karmic relationship patterns. This is the final Libra eclipse for 9 years. We will have a second chance coming back around in April 2025, but it's not only the last Libra eclipse for 9 years, it's the last eclipse of the season and the last eclipse of 2024. That is a lot of lasts. There's a dichotomy here. It's a new moon, so it involves a fated new beginning, but it's a new moon South Node eclipse. So it's eclipsing something out of your life in order for you to be ready to receive a new beginning. This could be a new person or a fresh start or opportunity for forgiveness with an existing person. It could be the eclipsing away of a karmic relationship or a karmic relationship pattern that no longer serves your best interest and now needs to be released in order for you to come into more harmonic union with others. Endings are new beginnings. There is a seed of opportunity lurking within every setback. Eclipses always come in pairs, and the lunar eclipse that occurs 2 weeks prior to a solar eclipse can be seen as a precursor foreshadowing it. We just had the full moon North Node lunar eclipse in Pisces 2 weeks ago in mid-September, foreshadowing what the future holds for us beginning in January 2025 and into July 2026, as the nodal axis of fate and destiny prepare to transit the Pisces-Virgo axis of health and spirituality. This is wrapping up a 1.5-year cycle along the Libra-Aries relationship axis. Eclipses occur when the sun and moon align with the north or south node of fate and destiny, which are 2 points where the sun plane intersects with the moon's orbit. The north and south node are powerful placements. The south node carries our generational karma. It corresponds with past life, spiritual baggage, and the innate gifts we bring into this world. It's almost like a secondary moon placement, showing where we are deeply comfortable or the energy our ego resorts to when it feels threatened. The North Node, by contrast, is our fate and destiny. It's the energy our soul is meant to embody, the lessons we're meant to acquire, usually by age 30, once we've completed our first Saturn return. The energy can feel a bit foreign to us at first. It's much like learning to write using your non-dominant hand. In astrology, the South Node is associated with comforts, instincts, and habits. And because it's linked to spiritual baggage, when a solar eclipse occurs at the South Node, it can have the following indications. Themes of letting go. The South Node, in many ways, can represent what we're moving away from, especially collectively. And a solar eclipse at the South Node can indicate there's a huge need to release outdated belief systems. We're encouraged to stop trying to force a peg into a square hole Stop trying to make things work that simply aren't working. South node eclipses, even ones that coincide with new moons, carry an intention of ending. There are no endings, only new beginnings. We'll also explore a theme of reflecting. The South node can be seen as a place our ego retreats to when it feels threatened. And a solar eclipse at the South node can force us to remember to purify our intentions and reflect. It can also bring about themes of spiritual illumination. The South node is a source of where we're most gifted and talented, and you may be called to tap into those talents and share them with the collective. Solar eclipses can only occur during the new moon phase, when the sun and moon are aligned in the same part of the sky or universe. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, obscuring our view of the sun from our Earth-based perspective. Astrologically speaking, because the moon represents what we need for emotional fulfillment, and the sun represents our individual soul's path and the focus of our lifeblood or energy, so when the moon eclipses the sun, it implies that the need of something internally, such as a deeply repressed, hidden feeling, comes bubbling to the surface, dramatically or intensely with the eclipse, that it becomes so intense, so big, so consuming, and so overwhelming as to completely eclipse or block the sun, our lifeblood, vitality, and main source of energy here on Earth. To build some context around the Libra new moon solar eclipse, let's briefly review the astrological history, beginning with the last major lunation in the middle of September, 2 weeks prior to the new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 2nd, 2024. We had a full moon north node lunar eclipse 25 degrees Pisces on September 17th or September 18th, depending on where in the world you're tuning in from. This made us feel more tired, or if you have Gemini placements like me, Jupiter and Gemini challenged our tendency to spread ourselves too thinly and sacrifice sleep and rest. It made us more drawn to fantasy, and it increased our desire to escape reality, especially as the world seems to become a darker and darker place. Full moons tend to expose what's normally hidden from view, people's true colors, illusions, and delusions, and their true emotions, intentions, and motivations become more apparent as we were urged to lean into Virgo's powers of discernment and identify the difference. The week after that, the week of September 22nd to September 28th, brought us the autumnal equinox on Sunday, September 22nd, and the last quarter moon, 28 degrees Gemini, on Tuesday, September 24th. This last quarter moon in Gemini featured a conjunction to Jupiter in Gemini, just prior to Jupiter's retrograde, 21 degrees Gemini, reactivating the kite formation that was first activated under the Pisces full moon north node lunar eclipse in the middle of September. This time, we had Mercury in rulership in Virgo opposing Neptune in rulership in Pisces, bringing awareness and clarity to our addictions and patterns of escapism, avoidance, or where we tend to have weak boundaries. This first week of Libra season was rocky and tumultuous, and most of Libra season 2024 is going to feel like it lacks consistency and stability, increasing our overall need for grounding. This is because Black Moon Lilith and the South node of Fate and Destiny are conjoined in the early degrees of Libra. So when the sun left Virgo and entered the sign of Libra, it immediately cast a spotlight of energy onto our one-to-one interpersonal relationships. On the same day the sun entered Libra, kickstarting Libra season, where the sun is in its fall, aka autumn here in the northern hemisphere, aka the autumnal equinox. This means that Venus left her sign of rulership, where she felt strong, beautiful, empowered, and entered her sign of debilitation or exile, Scorpio. Just prior to leaving Libra, Venus formed an exact square to Pluto during Pluto's final months, 29 degrees Capricorn, the final months in our lifetimes, bringing a major internal crisis or trigger to our values, resources, and our feelings about our closest interpersonal relationships. This is giving October Libra and Libra Scorpio cusp energy vibes all Libra season in 2024. With Venus, the ruling planet of Libra, and this Libra new moon solar eclipse weakened, debilitated, in exile in Scorpio, the sign of secrets, depth, loss, emotional healing, intensity, personal magnetism, and deep personal transformation. It's an invitation to explore the deepest depths of your heart, your soul, and your passions as you learn to deepen your comfort level and have greater emotional intimacy with yourself and others. To understand a planet at detriment or debilitation, or otherwise weakened in position, we need to first grasp an understanding of the planet in rulership, when it's strong and free to express its needs. Venus rules the signs of Taurus and Libra, instilling a deep need for healthy partnership, peace, harmony, and grounding. Venus has close ties to our values and is associated with what we enjoy, value, desire, invest time, energy, or money into, and our ability to not only naturally attract what we desire, but our ability to receive it once we do attract it. While Venus was in rulership in Libra from August 29th until September 22nd, 2024, we were inspired to create greater balance and harmony in our daily lives and in our one-to-one relationships, as we find balance in meeting both parties' wants, feelings, and needs. Whenever a planet transits a sign that is directly opposite its sign of rulership or exaltation, it experiences weakened expression. So if you're keeping count, we have a weakened sun fallen in Libra, where it's more focused on the needs of the other in relationship to it, because it's in Libra, opposite sign of partnership, opposite the sign of the self, Aries, where the sun would be exalted, fully free to put the self first. When the sun is in Libra, it puts the focus of our energy into the other person in relationship to us, whether that's our significant other, child, parent, best friend, business partner, or client. Libra is a highly people-oriented energy as a cardinal air sign, known for initiating socially with its charm, poise, and social grace. We also have Mars weakened opposite its sign of exaltation, which would be Capricorn, currently transiting through Cancer, putting our motivation and drive and overall energy at the mercy of the ever-fluctuating moon and tying our motivation to our moods and our emotions. Mars in Cancer puts our energy and focus into our homes, families, sense of security, and collectively onto national security. And it intensifies the impact of the lunations until April 2025, after Mars completes its retrograde cycle and prepares for forward progress through Leo. And Jupiter is considered to be weakened in Gemini, opposite Jupiter's sign of rulership, Sagittarius. Feeling spread too thin, dealing with gossip and censorship, showing where we are most polarized or divided, and getting a bit tired of juggling. Jupiter stations retrograde just 1 week after this new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 9th, 2024, 21 degrees 20 arc minutes of Gemini. Jupiter brings growth, expansion, wisdom, and abundance. Whenever a planet changes direction, stations direct or retrograde, it amplifies its energy, which implies that the polarity we're seeing play out on social media and on the internet may intensify in the weeks following this October new moon solar eclipse. Jupiter in Gemini, because it's weakened or debilitated, can highlight Gemini's weakest traits, which would include its tendency to overpromise and overcommit. What seems to happen for Gemini, remember I'm a Gemini moon and Mars, Gemini stellium technically if you count the asteroids. What seems to happen for a Gemini is that they truly are a jack of all trades. They have a myriad of interests and talents. This can cause a Gemini to scatter and spread itself pretty thinly, feeling like an octopus being pulled in many different directions all at once, when it's called to Gemini juggle everything. Often a Gemini will think that it has the time and energy because it does have energy in the moment when it agrees to do something, but it may later realize that it doesn't, and that it has overcommitted itself, which can make them appear flaky or disingenuous. Be mindful of this tendency and this pattern, as Jupiter in Gemini can expand the energy and the influence among the collective. Be careful not to bite off more than you can realistically chew and digest. This also implies a dichotomy between our expectations and what will be the realistic outcome. Be mindful, avoid getting overly attached to any expectations you might be holding. Remember, William Shakespeare said, "Expectation is the root of all heartache." The last time Jupiter stationed retrograde at this degree point, 21 degrees Gemini, was on October 10th, 1941. So far this year, a couple of transits have brought us back to the year 1941, the year that led into US involvement in World War II. If you recall the content I put out in July around the Mars-Uranus conjunction on Algol, 26 degrees Taurus, you'll recall that this was a conjunction between Mars and Uranus on this specific degree point on Algol that we hadn't seen in 84 years, the last of which coincided with the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of 1941. This was an event that essentially forced US involvement in World War II. The US had, until that point, essentially maintained neutrality, despite financing the Allied powers, Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union, modern-day Russia. In October 1941, while Jupiter was stationed 21 degrees the first 3 weeks of October 1941. It coincided with the first Moscow Conference between representatives from the governments of the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, modern-day Russia, who were all allies against the Axis powers. At this time, Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, modern-day Russia, was already underway, and the Russians were seeking help in the form of arms and munitions to defend against the invasion. On my birthday, though long before I was born, this was October 8th, 1941, U.S. President FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, sent Soviet leader Joseph Stalin a message agreeing to support him, and a couple days later, on October 11th, 1941, he sent another message, this one to Winston Churchill of the United Kingdom, suggesting that the two team up, combine resources, and begin to research into the possibility of nuclear weapons. In so doing, the United States of America remained neutral while helping its allies and preparing for escalation on the home front. Since Jupiter is stationing retrograde on October 9th, 2024, exactly where it stationed retrograde back on October 10th, 1941, this implies a potential repeat or mirroring of history. As the United States continues to supply arms and assistance to Ukraine and Israel, we can anticipate conflict to continue to escalate. We may also anticipate a potentially catastrophic attack on United States soil, especially in the Washington, D.C. area and United States sanctuary cities. We may see increased violence in these cities that threatens the overall feeling of safety and security in America. We can also anticipate United States formal involvement in global war by 2025, which aligns with what we've historically seen with Uranus transits through Gemini, where Uranus is headed in 2025. Historically, every time that Uranus transits through Gemini, the United States gets involved in a major war. The situation we were in back on the precipice of World War II in 1941 mirrors the situation we are in now as we attempt to maintain neutrality in global war while still supplying arms and munitions to our friends Ukraine and Israel. Ukraine has requested permission from its allies to use Western-designed long-range weapons, which the United Kingdom, the United States, and Germany have all, up until this point at least, refused. Putin has flat out said he will escalate the situation into potentially nuclear conflict, as he would consider it an attack by NATO, as he argues that Ukraine would not be able to utilize these weapons without the support of their NATO allies. The United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and Ukraine are all in a position to call Putin's bluff, but this has very concerning implications as it could lead to nuclear world war. Nuclear world war aligns with Pluto's forward progress through Aquarius, beginning just after the United States presidential election, when Pluto returns to 0 degrees Aquarius for uninterrupted progress on November 19th, 2024. Aquarius is modernly ruled by Uranus, and both have ties to nuclear power and nuclear engineering. Pluto's transit through Aquarius 2024 to 2044 will lead to a radical dismantling of society as we know it that leads to extraordinary developments. It will lead to a shift in governmental structures and to the workforce and economy as we know it, as we pave the way for a more equitable, compassionate, and humanitarian way of being in the age of Aquarius. Felt on a more personal level, the ingress of Pluto in Aquarius can signal intense and transformative shifts in one's professional realm or overall legacy, as we're all collectively called to realign our goals and aspirations. We will all feel called to align with authenticity and purpose, and to do more, to leave a positive imprint or mark on the collective. In order to achieve that, we must first delve into discovering what that purpose, soul path, or dharma is. Now we have Venus, weakened in Scorpio, kick-started by an immediate, challenging square to Pluto, while Pluto's at that critical, anaretic 29th degree crisis point, and coinciding with the autumnal equinox. Venus remains in Scorpio until October 17th, when she moves on to the realm of freedom, travel, and philosophy-loving Sagittarius. Venus, debilitated in Scorpio, lacks access to its resources, and in this case, it may be lacking access to shared resources, trust funds, inheritances, taxes, debts, insurance, anything that involves the merging of money and resources are all Scorpio areas. There's this phenomenon that seems to occur in election years in the United States of America that's commonly known as an October surprise, and the astrology so far seems to align with this. Events that happen between now and the November United States presidential election will change leadership as we know it, and it will affect the outcome of the election. We kickstarted October 2024 with a new moon solar eclipse in Libra, which can bring unexpected and dramatic events. With a full moon in Aries in the middle of the month on October 17th, 2024, with the moon in Aries answering to Aries' ruling planet Mars, weakened in Cancer, with the moon in Aries answering to Aries' ruling planet Mars in Cancer, which puts the moon and its ruler, while it's in Aries, Mars, into mutual reception. They've traded rulers. Indicates that there will not only be an escalation to existing conflicts and wars, but a major change in fate affecting both presidential candidates and potentially also our current president of the United States. Full moons mark revelations, culminations, and completion. And when they occur in the sign of Aries, they bring up themes of autonomy, independence, self-assertion, and pioneering. This full moon will be in mutual reception with its planetary ruler, Mars in Cancer, while it's forming a challenging square as part of a larger grand cardinal cross, involving the nodes of fate and destiny. Mars and Cancer themes, which we'll explore deeper in a bit, will be brought to the forefront under this full moon in Aries in mid-October. While we're on the subject, I'll just quickly note that this Aries full moon will feature a conjunction to Chiron while Chiron is transiting the late degrees of Aries. One of the themes for Chiron in Aries includes major milestones in women's rights and women's history, which could imply that we may see a female president in our future, possibly due to something sudden and unexpected happening to the opponent or to the current president that promotes her into position prior to a traditional late January inauguration. An interesting thing to note is that Kamala Harris is a business-minded and assertive full moon baby, and she was actually born under a full moon in Aries, within a 3-degree orb of this upcoming October full moon in Aries. So she'll certainly be spotlighted under it come mid-October. Under the full moon in Aries, the sun in its fall in Libra opposes the Aries full moon, while the fallen sun answers to a debilitated Venus, experiencing a crisis at the critical anaretic 29th degree point, this time of Scorpio. The debilitation is immediately removed just hours after the full moon in Aries, when Venus enters freedom travel and philosophy-loving Jupiterian Sagittarius, implying that a woman's position and conditions for women in general among the collective may also improve or elevate. Since this occurs prior to the election and we have another major lunation before the Scorpio new moon, still to come preceding the US presidential election, this implies that something could happen to our existing president, Joe Biden, that causes him to have to step down willingly from office, putting Kamala in office as the first female president of the United States prior to the election. Something could happen to her opponent, Donald Trump, that removes him from the running. Time will tell. We'll explore the astrology a little bit deeper. I predicted back for you in the beginning of July that there would be multiple attempts against Donald Trump's life. The first of which coincided with the Mars-Uranus conjunction on demon star Algol, 26 degrees Taurus, during Cancer season, right smack in between two back-to-back full moons in Capricorn, with the second of which, the full moon 29 degrees Capricorn, coinciding with when Joe Biden stepped down from the running. 29 degrees Capricorn, where Pluto is now. The second assassination attempt occurred in the middle of September, while Mars was transiting through Cancer, almost exactly square the lunar nodes of fate and destiny, at a point we astrologers refer to as the North Bending. It's an incredibly sensitive point. Any planet conjunct this point receives a massive injection of its energy, which in this case was Mars, while Mars was conjunct Trump's natal Mercury in the 12th house of hidden enemies, self-undoing, and the afterlife. Mars delivers karma through injury, illness, accident, and separation. Mars in Cancer can bring attacks to the home, or where we're supposed to feel most safe and secure. Trump was attacked on his own golf course. That's a place he likely felt he was very safe. Mars in Cancer for the rest of us could indicate feeling unsafe in the home, especially as the immigration or migrant crisis continues to escalate as we head into winter and the homeless are forced to take desperate measures to survive, especially in the cold. Cancer is all about home and family and what we need for emotional comfort and security. Mars in Cancer brings up feelings of a lack of safety and security, and this can be felt even on a national level. Mars in Cancer can be about nationalism, with many who have their natal Mars in Cancer serving our nation in some capacity, especially via the military or the government. We've been hearing stories on the news, I've seen it on YouTube, about immigrant groups stealing and beheading animals that are actually people's pets. Americans view their pets as part of their family. This is Cancer energy. And Mars is bringing attacks to these helpless, unrepresented animals. From the perspective of the immigrants, they're likely simply trying to survive, doing what they know to source and hunt food they view as available. Similarly, we've heard stories about squatters' rights and the potential for squatters to take over ownership of your home. Be sure to secure your homes and add surveillance if that's something you feel you need to do. Mars will be in Cancer for an extended time due to his upcoming retrograde, so the feeling of a lack of security and safety will be felt and continue to intensify until it reaches a breaking point sometime between September 2024 and April 2025. This new moon solar eclipse in Libra forms a close square to Mars, weakened in Cancer. It's part of a larger pattern known as a grand cardinal cross. The cross is created by two pairs of oppositions. So we have the new moon in Libra, spotlighting our karmic relationship patterns opposite the north node of fate and destiny in Aries, bringing opportunities to emotionally release, nurture, heal, and release oneself from an overemphasis on the logical and practical, oftentimes at the expense of the creative, intuitive, emotional, and spiritual parts of self, as eclipse season sets the stage for significant life changes. The other opposition occurs between Ceres in Capricorn and Mars in Cancer, which could affect our ability to access clean and safe food and water. Something could happen that affects our supply chain, like it did back in 2021. The two sets of oppositions create squares, which is what makes the Grand Cardinal Cross so challenging and equally powerful. Squares present opportunities to internally integrate and balance seemingly conflicting energies, such as Libra with Capricorn or Aries with Cancer, for example. Although all are cardinal or initiating energies, their element is different. Aries is a cardinal fire sign that initiates its energy by taking decisive action and naturally stepping into leadership roles. Cancer is a cardinal water sign that initiates with its empathy and its outstanding compassion. Libra is a cardinal air sign that initiates socially with its unmatched charm, charisma, and social skills. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign that initiates with its unmatched work ethic. A fallen Mars square the new moon in Libra implies discomfort, aggression, emotional reactivity, and passive aggression, especially in Cancerian spaces, but especially involving the home and family, where we most crave security, peace, and harmony. Just days after the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, Mars enters his pre-retrograde shadow on October 6th, dropping clues for what Mars retrograde from December 2024 to February 2025 will bring when we start to enact and effect these changes. With Mars in Cancer approaching opposition to Pluto, 29 degrees Capricorn, for the last time in our lifetimes, could bring a housing market collapse directly tied to the insurance business in the United States, especially in states like California, Florida, Texas, where it is becoming increasingly expensive to insure, mostly driven by the increase of wild weather events with Uranus's transit through Taurus since 2018, including, but not limited to, fire, wildfire, flooding, tornadic activity, and hurricanes. We are also at solar maximum, which energizes storm systems, making them more powerful and potentially more destructive. Uranus will be retrograding on top of Algol the entire month of October, bringing us back to the energies of mid-July, when Uranus and Mars aligned 26 degrees Taurus, right on top of demon star Algol, known for its destruction. This myth holds tremendous potential for violent and shocking events, mirroring Algol's destructive, off with their heads nature. The exact date Mars opposes Pluto is November 3rd, and leading into the election on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, which also features the moon activating Pluto by conjunction, while both oppose Mars on the cusp of Cancer and Leo, the exact territory where Mars will retrograde from December to February, indicating that major changes will come to unfold even once a presidential candidate is elected. This is likely to be a very complicated, dramatic, and historical election. On September 2nd, 2024, Labor Day in the United States, Pluto returned to 29 degrees Capricorn for the final time in our lifetimes, which I keep saying that because it's a huge deal. The last time Pluto was at this part of the sky, hovering over and ultimately transforming energies along the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, was the year 1778. This is no coincidence that Pluto returned 29 degrees Capricorn on Labor Day, while many Americans were off from work, celebrating and reflecting on their careers and whether or not their current path aligns with a greater soul purpose and ultimately makes them happy. Historically, anytime Pluto is 29 degrees of an Earth sign, it coincides with a major downturn or recession. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was from 1778 to 1798, with the planet taking 248 years to make its way all the way through all 12 signs of the zodiac. It makes this transit once in a lifetime, to say the least. The most significant events for 1778 for the United States involved the official entry of France as an ally in the American Revolutionary War, marked by the signing of the Treaty of Alliance and the Treaty of Amity and Commerce on February 6, 1778. This was an important event that escalated the conflict between the American colonists and Great Britain into an international war against Great Britain. The alliance provided crucial financial and military support to the American colonists in their resistance efforts against the monarchy. 1778 was the year of the infamous Valley Forge Winter, in which George Washington's Continental Army endured a harsh winter at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, only 25-30 minutes or so from where I live. Pluto was in Capricorn from November 27, 2008 to March 23, 2023, when it first moved into Aquarius. 2023 and 2024 served as transition years as Pluto dipped its toes into and out of traveling back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn. Pluto only progresses about 3 degree points each year as the slowest moving outer dwarf planet, spending 12 to 30 years in each sign, depending on where it is in its elliptical orbit. Pluto, more commonly known as the Destroyer, is considered to be a harbinger of elimination and regeneration. Pluto operates by first intensifying what's misaligned and then completely destroying it, so that from its ashes we can rebuild something even better than before. In the sign of Capricorn, which is associated with personal accountability, tradition, conservativeness, legacy, authority, and large systems of organization or government, Pluto's time in Capricorn since 2008 coincided with the Great Recession, one of the worst financial crises in U.S. history. And this was the time I graduated high school. To be completely frank with you, as a millennial, I have not seen a stable economy since before the Great Recession of 2008, when I was a junior in high school. If you are a millennial out there watching this, do not feel bad. You are not responsible for the state of the economy, but you will be responsible for carrying the torch and help leading the collective out of it. Many of you, like myself, were forced to create something entirely of your own. I was laid off 3 times in 3 years, forced to change industries each time, before launching this channel and accidentally starting my astrology and tarot business. Had I not been laid off, I would not have had the time to deep dive into astrology or create the content that launched my business. Everything happens for a reason. Pluto in Capricorn since 2008 has exposed corruption in Capricorn-related areas, including big business, the government, and leadership, or authority as we know it. Pluto, the Destroyer, ultimately seeks to destroy what's not aligned with integrity and soul purpose, exposing misuses and abuses of power at the hands of those who have it, or who had it. The combined energies of eclipse season and Libra season answering to Venus in Scorpio is bringing what's hidden or done in the dark to the surface, especially at the hands of powerful people or leaders and celebrities. Some examples of this include what we're seeing come to light about Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, and the Me Too movement, which featured women coming together to speak up against the abuses toward women in the workplace at the hands of the powerful men who run the companies. The truth will out, exposing how people in power behave so that we can collectively hold these individuals accountable for any abuses of power. This includes anyone who manipulates or takes advantage of others for sport. Anyone who does this, their karma is coming to collect in the next 3 months. It's also possible that this new moon solar eclipse in Libra could be signaling something challenging for leadership in the United Kingdom. Charles III is currently battling cancer, and under this new moon solar eclipse, Pluto currently squares his natal moon, which could eclipse him from our world and bring his successor, Prince William, into power. Challenging oppositions and squares between transiting Pluto and personal placements towards the end of one's life can coincide with an end to one's life. This is especially powerful when Pluto is at the 29th degree. While Venus is in Scorpio until mid-October, we will be called to tap into our inner powers of magnetism. Scorpio is a highly magnetic energy with the power to be every bit as captivating as a Leo. When fully evolved, a Leo and a Scorpio are indiscernible. We may be called to make choices in love. Collectively, we'll explore themes of love and loss and be presented with opportunities to confront our deepest fears, doubts, and insecurities. When we avoid processing emotions by suppressing or escaping them, this creates blocks in the heart chakra, leading to blocked creativity, intuition, and difficulty relating with others, which can lead to settling for emotionally shallow or unfulfilling relationships. When there's a solar eclipse, overwhelming, uncomfortable emotions come exploding back to the surface. Scorpio experiences a lot of loss and adversity. To put it bluntly, life is a series of attachments and detachments. We have to be in the practice of knowing when it is the right time to let go. Loss teaches us that separation is a myth, and loss events tend to guide us into greater spirituality. To truly love means accepting the inevitability of loss. We are called to be more open and vulnerable with others as we deepen our closest one-to-one interpersonal relationships. The Scorpio journey is about learning that life is not happening to you, but for you. Once we shift out of the why me victim mindset to an empowered try me attitude. Venus in Scorpio can indicate trust issues coming up in relationships. We will be learning to discern who we can trust and to what extent, learning to employ better boundaries, confronting fears of abandonment, rejection, and betrayal, and overcoming any underlying addictions or escapist tendencies. Venus is considered to be in her sign of exile in Scorpio, revealing the darker underbelly of situations and one-to-one relationships, especially the ones that appeared to be fair and harmonious, but in actuality, when we really look at them deeply, they're not. The Pisces lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago helped those rose-colored glasses we've been wearing fall off so that we can look at our closest relationships more clearly and realistically. Hidden feelings and deeper truths will come bursting to the surface this October to make us aware of our most authentic feelings so we can drive change. Although Venus is the planetary ruler for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, she is considered averse to the eclipse and cannot see it. An aversion of an eclipse's planetary ruler implies there will be events that we could not foresee and that we feel as though we have very little control in. They will feel quite fated. Although it's a new moon, the emphasis is more on endings than on new beginnings. But really, they are one and the same. Venus is featured as part of a grand water trine involving Saturn in Pisces, Mars in Cancer, and, well, Venus in Scorpio, towards the middle or heart of their respective signs. This is deeply powerful and healing energy, and we can anticipate this eclipse will stir up powerful, deeper feelings and directly impact bonds with those closest to us. Venus weakened in Scorpio affects personal placements in Taurus and Libra, especially Taurus and Libra rising, because Venus is your chart ruler. Since the Sun, Mars, and Jupiter are also experiencing weakened expression, this affects Leo placements ruled by the Sun, Scorpio and Aries placements ruled by Mars, and Sagittarius and Pisces placements ruled by Jupiter. If you have personal placements in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, and Pisces, you may be feeling a bit off presently due to the weakened expression of your planetary ruler. Personal placements in Cancer may feel energized by the transit of Mars through your sign, especially placements in the later degrees of Cancer and along the Cancer-Leo cusp into the early degrees of Leo. This is due to the upcoming Mars retrograde through Leo and Cancer. Personal placements in the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, may notice a major letting go of fixed or rigid habits or ways of being and relating with others. Many of you are learning to look at relationships beyond their apparent transactional value or what you can get out of the connection. Fixed sign placements will be releasing repressed emotions, emotional walls they've built up, blocks, defenses, and other self-sabotaging patterns as they learn to open up into deeper, more fulfilling connections. The autumnal equinox on Sunday, September 22nd, 2024, featuring Venus squaring off against Pluto at the 29th critical final degree of its sign of rulership, prior to immediately ingressing into its sign of debilitation in Scorpio, all set the stage for the topic of today's video, the new moon annular solar eclipse in Libra, exacting 10 degrees Libra on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. This means the concentration of energy in Libra. We have a Libra stellium, South Node 6 degrees Libra, Moon 10 degrees Libra, Sun 10 degrees Libra, Black Moon Lilith 10 degrees Libra, and Juno 18 degrees Libra. Has all the charm and communicative abilities of peace-loving Libra blended with Scorpio's tremendous capacity for depth, healing, and transformation. We will all be dealing with the deeper, more uncomfortable layers within our relationships. Venus in Scorpio indicates that our closest one-to-one relationships will face tests, drama, intensity, hidden feelings, secrets coming to light, temptations, and possibly even obsession. Scorpio is about the soul. Just look to the millennial generation born between 1984 and 1996, who have their Pluto in rulership, strong, empowered, magnetic, and deeply powerful. The Pluto in Scorpio millennial generation was the first generation to need work that aligns with a soul path or deeper meaning or purpose, passing the torch down to Generation Z. Collectively, our relationships will be tested, triggered, and taken to their potential breaking point. Collectively, we will all experience a bit of intensity as we individually work through habitual karmic relationship patterns. You will be called to sit down with yourself and take a long, hard look in the mirror at how you are the only common denominator in each of your relationships. How are you showing up in relationship to others energetically? As a doormat with weak boundaries who gets taken advantage of by selfish people? Are your boundaries so strong as to never allow anyone to see the real, authentic you underneath the mask? Are you the taker or are you the giver? But fear not, for there is an equal opportunity to deepen your relationship and grow stronger together, so long as both parties possess the emotional maturity and willingness to work through these tests and triggers. Love is not just a feeling, it's a choice that we make. Libra new moons always involve themes of creating greater relationship harmony and new beginnings or restarts in one-to-one relationships, partnerships, romantic cycles, contractual agreements, and with our open enemies. Libra is the only sign in the zodiac that is not represented by an animal, but by an inanimate object, the scales of justice, symbolizing this deeply Venusian, Libran, and Taurian need to create balance and harmony, compromise, and equal give and take, balanced, energetic exchanges with others. The co-presence of the South Node and Black Moon Lilith with this Libra new moon indicates the potential opportunity for a new start or a reunion with a significant soulmate or twin flame, if you're on the twin flame path like myself. The need of something internally, such as a hidden feeling that you might have repressed, that comes bubbling to the surface amid eclipse season, becomes so intense, so big, so overwhelming, as to completely eclipse or block the sun. Eclipse season is largely about fated change, karma, and destiny. It includes themes of endings and beginnings, endings as beginnings. The exact dates for Black Moon Lilith's transit through Libra are June 29th, 2024 to March 27th, 2025, an extended 9-month stay. Black Moon Lilith is a geometric point in the sky that represents the moon's apogee, the furthest point of the moon's orbit around the Earth where there is no source of light, the dark side of the moon. Since Black Moon Lilith has no light source, there is a built-in darkness or shadow element to its energy. In astrology, Black Moon Lilith symbolizes the dark side of the moon's emotionality, representing our patterns of self-disempowerment and our relationship with letting go and sacrifice. It can also show where we question ourselves and where we question our beliefs. Black Moon Lilith is in Libra until March 2025, co-present with the South Node of karmic fate and destiny until January 11th, 2025, highlighting our karmic relationship patterns that have been internalized, passed down, possibly through our families, for generations. This is especially true for patterns of conflict avoidance, codependency, passive aggression, people-pleasing, going along blindly with groupthink, burning out trying to make everyone happy, wearing a mask, living a double life, giving too much power away to the opinions, expectations, and projections of others, and patterns of detachment, dissociation, avoidance, and escapism through fantasy, video games, drugs, alcohol, workaholism, and other addictions. Each of us, no matter how we identify, is being guided to connect within ourselves and balance the internal yin or feminine attracting or magnetizing force. Shadow feminine energy can look like manipulation for personal gain. What is out of balance and no longer serving you? Are you over-giving or over-taking? Are you overly attached to or dependent on something or someone? This Libra new moon solar eclipse exacts 10 degrees 3 arc minutes of Libra on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024, activating personal placements in the first 15 degrees of Libra from now through mid-January 2025. Under the new moon in Libra, we have both the sun and the moon in Libra aligned exactly 10 degrees 3 arc minutes of Libra for the new moon in Libra. This spotlight of energy and new beginning is forming an exact conjunction to Black Moon Lilith, 10 degrees Libra, and to a newly reborn Mercury, the planet of communication, commerce, trade, and technology, 11 degrees Libra, indicating profound clarity and awareness around our habitual relationship patterns. This is especially powerful because Wednesday is Mercury's day. Wednesday comes from Latin dies Mercurii, which translates to day of Mercury, originally coming from English, Wednesdag, which means Woden's day, because during the Roman era, the Germanic god Woden was considered to be the Germanic Mercury. Mercury is about our conscious aware minds, our mind or mindset, our thoughts, our voice, our communication styles, and habits. Mercury is newly reborn and still featured within a 1 degree orb conjunction to the sun due to Mercury's cazimi. At the very end of September, exacting September 30th and October 1st, right around the time I'm recording this video, just hours prior to this Libra new moon solar eclipse, Mercury aligned with the sun for a charming cazimi, exacting 8 degrees Libra, right on top of my chart ruler, Venus, on Vindematrix, the Widowmaker, and Grape Gatherer, bringing insight and clarity around our values into our closest interpersonal relationships. 8 degrees is a Scorpio degree. Remember, my birthday is October 8th, power number 8, bringing us right back to the depth, intensity, and obsessive nature of Libra's planetary ruler, Venus, while she's weakened and in exile in Scorpio. A Mercury cazimi occurs when Mercury is in exact conjunction with the sun. The term cazimi translates from the Arabic word for in the heart of the sun, because Mercury appears to travel through the heart of the sun from our Earth-based perspective. Mercury cazimi is a time to have important, likely long overdue conversations, and to make decisions and actions aligned with our future goals for peace. Although Mercury is reborn, it is technically still combust because it's right on top of, within 1 degree, and being consumed or burned up by the energy of the sun, while the sun is at solar maximum. We will be able to tap into the benefits of Mercury cazimi in the hours and days immediately after the Libra new moon solar eclipse. A new moon aligned with the South Node and Mercury. This brings major blasts from the past energy and major clarity around something that happened in the past. There could be a big emphasis or focus on past people or the return of past people. People coming back for closure, looking to tie up loose ends, people coming back around to speak their truth or to speak their mind, or to clear their conscience. Secrets and hidden feelings may be exposed. Things weighing on the conscious may consume people and need to be expressed. Long overdue apologies will be delivered. Justice and karmic retribution for those who have been wronged, exploited, or fallen prey to manipulative power-seeking energies. This is a great time for wrapping up unfinished business or projects. There is a big emphasis here on releasing the past. What else is going on with Mercury? We recently had a Mercury retrograde through Virgo and Leo all of August 2024, with pre- and post-shadow extending from July 16th, 2024 to September 11th, 2024. Whenever Mercury changes signs, it indicates a major change of mind, heart, or direction, both personally and within the collective, leading into the US presidential election and covering the late degrees of Leo, including fixed star Regulus, the heart of the Leo constellation, and hinting that leadership, royalty, and celebrity, or Hollywood as we know it, is in for some major and dramatic changes. These dramatic changes will be amplified and played out while Mars is retrograde through Cancer and Leo, December 2024 to February 2025, and in the aftermath through April 2025. Mercury is the planetary ruler for Jupiter, while Jupiter is in Gemini from June 2024 through July 2025, directly tied to and impacting our ability to attract and receive abundance. A Mercury-ruled Jupiter implies that our mindset controls our ability to manifest, so be sure to stay on top of your thoughts. Avoid ruminating, and truly embody presence. This is bringing us back to March 25th, 2024's lunar eclipse, 5 degrees Libra, since that lunar eclipse occurred within a 5-degree standard deviation or orb of this final Libra eclipse in the Libra cycle. The new moon solar eclipse, 10 degrees Libra, exacting on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. On September 27th, 2024, the sun conjoined the exact spot of that March 25th, 2024 lunar eclipse, 5 degrees Libra, almost exactly 6 months after the fact, with the sun now highlighting or bringing the spotlight of energy and consciousness onto these unhealthy, habitual, or karmic relationship patterns. The south node of karmic fate and destiny is only 1 degree point away, currently 6 degrees Libra, and it will transit 5 degrees Libra from October 9th to 26th, 2024. The south node traveling 5 to 0 degrees Libra from October 2024 to January 2025 will continue to activate the first decan of Libra all the way through January 2025. As you reflect on the relationships that formed you, also reflect on how you are the only common denominator in each of those relationships. How do you show up energetically in these connections? Are your boundaries strong and mutually beneficial? Are your boundaries so strong as to never allow anyone to get emotionally close? Or are they so weak as to allow others to manipulate or take advantage of your kind nature and big heart? Do you believe love to be inherently unconditional? Or do you play out an unconscious pattern of having to earn love and affection from others because that is how you were parented? Do you view relationships as transactional? Are you the giver or are you the taker? In what ways might you be overgiving or overtaking in your closest relationships? The first decan of Libra degrees are activated right now as we collectively experience evolutionary growing pain and shed these unhealthy habitual or karmic relationship patterns that were modeled to us and now unconsciously play out within our closest one-to-one relationships. We are experiencing tests and triggers to our closest relationships and our partnerships that will ultimately transform them and take them into new relationship territory as we evolve with new relationship skills, new ways of connecting, and new ways of sharing our deepest, most authentic emotions. Venus is in Scorpio, and the new moon solar eclipse, final eclipse in the cycle, casts a spotlight on both Black Moon Lilith and South Node in Libra. First, we will be required to, like a snake shedding its skin, shed previous, outdated versions of ourselves as we ditch unhealthy coping mechanisms, poor communication patterns, old attachment styles, patterns of avoidance or conflict avoidance, falling into addictions to escape reality, codependency, and enmeshment. We will be gaining clarity around what it means to be more intentional within our relationships, how we connect, and with whom we choose to connect. The Sun in Libra recently conjoined the super galactic center, 2 degrees Libra, which is a very unsettled, obsessive, and potentially addictive energy. It almost needs a partner because it does not inherently feel whole outside of connection. It feels like it needs that partner in order to be complete. It's almost as if society is judging it for being single, as if it's a leper. Since the Sun recently conjoined this part of the sky, it served as a trigger point, pointing the spotlight of energy on our tendency to put a lot of stock or value into the opinions, expectations, and projections of others. We have to be very mindful of this because while the feedback is a helpful gauge of our overall perception, we risk giving too much power away to external forces this way. The Sun activating this part of the sky or universe can illuminate relational imbalances, unhealthy relational patterns, and avoidant and attachment imbalances and styles. We will be called to question why we enter relationships in the first place. What's our intentionality in each of our closest relationships? How do we maintain our sense of self, ensuring our individual needs are met while also showing up 50-50 within our relationship or partnership? Are you showing up in your relationships authentically, or are there deeper hidden emotions lurking beneath the surface? The first 10 degrees of wherever you have Libra in your chart are highly active right now, and they are highlighting your own relationship modeling and patterns, especially unhealthy habitual or karmic patterns. Typically, this relates to our parents and to our older siblings, where applicable, who were our first examples or models for relating interpersonally. How we witnessed two people working together through their problems, or maybe the absence of that, and the impact that may have had on you. For me, I came from a background of divorce, in which one parent was fixated on using the children as pawns to enact revenge plots on the other parent, who wanted to leave for their own mental well-being and peace of mind. I did not witness adults working together to solve problems, but instead witnessed adults regressing into emotionally immature states and avoiding taking personal accountability by scapegoating those around them. I witnessed infidelity and was programmed by my mother to believe that all men cheat and lie, which became my reality, so long as I allowed these relationship patterns to remain unconscious, and these beliefs that I had imprinted. I freed myself from these patterns when I connected with my karmic twin flame, who ultimately served to illuminate these unhealthy patterns of codependency and people-pleasing by completely taking advantage of my love, kindness, and using me to pull himself out of a deep, dark depression only to discard me like a used object in the end. The outer planets in Libra destabilized what we defined in one-to-one relationships, and I'll explain. We had Saturn in Libra, 1921 to 1924, 1951 to 1953, and 1980 to 1983. We had Neptune in Libra, with Neptune dissolving relationships, 1942 to 1956. Double whammy to those born between 1951 and 1953 who have both Neptune and Saturn in Libra. Uranus in Libra, 1968 to 1975, bringing unconventionality out of the box thinking to relationships. And then Pluto in Libra, 1971 to 1983, double whammy to 1980 to 1983, who would have both their Pluto and Saturn in Libra. So I'll explain what each of those mean. When Uranus transits a new sign, it is said to stir up upheaval and change in the realm of that sign. So Uranus was in Libra from 1968 to 1975. Uranus in Libra was the generation, characterized by unstable, fast-moving, often sudden changes affecting one-to-one interpersonal relationships. Chaos, disruptive, or unhealthy dynamics in partnership were modeled to them. Just before that, from 1942 to 1956, the generation that was born while Neptune was transiting Libra, both of my parents belonged to this generation. Neptune is the planet of fantasy, dreams, imagination, spirituality, and escape. Whenever Neptune transits a sign, it is said to dissolve something there. So when Neptune transits Libra, it dissolves the two-parent traditional home structure. One parent leaving, parental divorce, the absent parent, the absent partnership, lies within the partnership, where there's a public mask or facade covering a darker truth, alcoholism, addiction, affair, ABUSC, etc. This generation had to learn about real connections, the importance of right relationship with self prior to going into relationship with another, because of the lack of balanced connections and relationships modeled to them. This Neptune and Libra generation are said to have a natural talent for peacekeeping, diplomacy, and creative solutions. Creative solutions through other people or collaborative projects especially. Fulfillment can be found through creating art and beauty. Many in this generation have Libra children or children with dominant Libra energy. Overlapping with the Uranus and Libra generation born 1968 to 1975, the Pluto and Libra generation, aka Generation X, born from 1971 to 1983, parts of 1984, Pluto is the smallest, slowest moving, and farthest planet, dwarf planet, in our solar system. As such, it takes 246 to 248 years to complete one orbit or rotation, spending approximately 13 to 20, usually closer to 18 to 20 years in each sign. So everyone born during a generational or 18 to 20 year period has Pluto in the same zodiacal sign. For example, we'll reuse the example I used earlier in the video, millennials. Millennials were born with Pluto in its sign of rulership, Scorpio, born between 1984 and 1985-1986. Bringing us the first generation that needed work aligned with soul purpose, followed by Generation Zers, who were born with their Pluto in freedom-loving Sagittarius from 1996 to 2008, who continue to carry that torch lit by the millennials. Whenever Pluto transits a sign, it destroys what is not aligned with authenticity in the realm that sign rules, which in the sign of Libra included destruction of inauthentic partnerships, connections, relationships, and marriages. Pluto in Libra can mean that the early partnerships that were modeled to Generation X were inconsistent with the relationships having ups and downs. This brought us a generation of latchkey kids, elevated rates of divorce, and power or control dynamics within parental structures. Many Generation Xers have at least one parent on the narcissistic spectrum. Many people with Pluto and Libra may need to learn how to navigate and create healthier dynamics within true connection. Where the new moon solar eclipse in Libra will affect you. Navigate to 10 degrees Libra in your natal chart. Identify what house this is in for you. This shows the life area where the new moon solar eclipse may manifest. The sign and planetary body indicate the energy patterns and the archetypes. We can use me as an example. I have a stellium or concentration of planets in Libra. Mercury, 4 degrees Libra, Venus in rulership, 8 degrees Libra, ascendant, 12 degrees Libra, and the sun, fallen, but exalted in the first house, rising with my ascendant. So a nice balance there. 14 degrees Libra, all in loose operative conjunction from point to end. From end to end, Mercury 4 degrees Libra to Sun 14 degrees Libra is a difference of exactly 10 degrees. The longest a conjunction can be to be considered a loose operative conjunction. We can consider a plus-minus 5 degree orb and factor in any placements or important angles, such as the ascendant, descendant, IC, or midheaven, MC, falling between 5 and 15 degrees of Libra. If it's hitting your sun, you may find a change to your sense of identity. or the solar eclipse could be affecting your father. If it's conjoining your moon, there may be a change to how you seek emotional comfort. Mercury, impacting the way you think, speak, and/or communicate. Venus, a change to what you value. Mars, a change to how you do things or go after something when you want it. Jupiter, a change to your overall world view. The planets are merely the actors. How it will manifest or play out depends on the house it falls in. Thank you for watching. If you're still with me, you're a real one. Drop your current most used emoji in the comments. If you took anything away from this video, we ask that you like, comment, share the content, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, we know that you'll enjoy the full playlist and this additional video. Thank you so much. Love you and see you soon.